Difficulty Classic. There we go. Okay. So. Alright. So, yeah. Hello and welcome. This is my guide to Dota 2. It's maybe not a beginner's guide, maybe just a guide, maybe just a random thought. But anyway, these are my top 5 suggestions of what you should do when playing Dota 2. So these are 5 rules of thumb, and there might be more rules of thumb. There definitely is. There's definitely more to this game than just 5 tips. But hopefully these 5 tips will help you out in your games, no matter what rank you are. It's always a learning process, and I don't think it really matters what rank you're at. There's always things you can be learning, and in fact, ignore these 5 tips I'm going to give you. And if there's one rule alone that I could give you, is always be learning, and you're good. You're good. That's easier said than done, really, and that's also a personal journey for us all. There's no correct way of going about that, and there's no real way to encourage someone to do this, but to be continually learning and just keep kind of refreshing your memory, keep kind of just picking up new bits and tips, like just different strategies, different ways of playing, keeping up to date with things, the meta, things like that. I think that will always be helpful, no matter what game you're playing, no matter what you're doing. That's always going to be helpful. But the five rules of thumb for Dota 2 specifically. So number 1 is always buy TP scroll. Yeah, they made it easier to have TP scroll because every time you die, you get a TP scroll for free. But sometimes you find yourself on the map, you're nowhere near the base, and you've got no TP scroll on you. So what you need to do is, as soon as you leave base, guys, just buy a TP scroll every single time. Make sure you've got one. Even if you have 2, it's not the end of the world. I'd rather have 2 than none. I'd rather have 3 than none. Having no TP scroll is so bad. It's so bad in every way. Just always have a TP scroll. That's number 1, by the way. There's a reason why I put that at number 1, because it's the easiest thing to do. It's the cheapest. It's very cheap. It's just so easy just to keep buying them. Just keep buying TP scroll. Number 2 is buy detection, wards, and sentries. So this is number 2 because it's up there as being one of the most important parts of the game. I could have just said wards alone, but it wouldn't be enough. Without sentries, without wards, without detection, the game just can spiral out of control and be ridiculous, So we'll start with sentries and dust. Now, I did a pre-recording of this and practiced it. But there is a difference between these 2 items, and it's very important to know the difference. But basically, with sentries, you want to have sentries when you're playing against invis heroes which come at you that are already invis, such as Bounty Hunters and Nyx or Ricky. Yeah, there are some other ones as well, but those are the big 3, the obvious ones. Another one which might catch you out is Spirit Breaker, because he normally buys a Shadow Blade on Spirit Breaker later in the game. So having a sentry versus him is very useful. It's not going to stop him, but it's going to be very useful. But then you've got dust on the other hand. Dust is also very important for catching invis heroes. You've got the dust, you've got the sentries to detect them, to see them, to see where they're going, see where they're coming from, that kind of thing. But dust is very good for catching them. So if they're running away, or they've just gone invis, or they've just picked up an invis rune, these type of things, they just pop the Shadow Blade, dust. You don't want a sentry for that, because they'll be moving fast. They'll be moving away from you quite fast. They'll run out of sentry range quite quickly. Now, yeah, sure, there's a situation where you don't have any dust. You've only got sentries. I would still prefer you to spam those sentries and get that kill than not put them down and just let them get away. Because, yeah, like, pro players may dumb down a kill. Like, they may be like, oh, it's just a kill. It doesn't matter. But depends who it is on the enemy team. If it's their position 1 and then you let them get away scot-free, it's... No, it's not acceptable. Not acceptable. The number one priority of every game is to kill the position 1 as much as possible. That is the absolute top priority. Don't care about anyone else on the map. Just kill that pos 1 continually, and you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a good time. Because no one enjoys a carry that's farmed. It doesn't matter how bad that carry is. If they're farmed, they're going to make your life a misery. So just make it easy. Just make it easy for yourselves and hunt down that position 1 continuously. Just do it. Just do it. In fact, screw these five rules of thumb. If I could give you one rule of thumb for Dota alone, is just hunt down position 1 constantly. Just do it. They'll hate you. They'll hate their team. Their team will hate him or her. Everyone on their team is just going to hate each other if you do this. And it's the big win. It's the big win, and it will make the game so much easier. It really will. You could try this with, right, you could say, oh, well, we need to hunt down a position 2 or a position 3. It's not the same, guys. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you're playing against a Smurf on mid. It doesn't matter if you're playing against a Smurf in the off lane. Just hunt down a position 1. Just hunt him down. Because you know what's going to happen. If he's playing Void, if he's playing Faceless Void and you hunt him down enough, he's going to end up chroning his own creeps. He's going to end up chroning his own team. He's going to chrono, like, jungle creeps, Yeah, obviously I don't like people that are griefing, but if the enemy team is griefing themselves and it's because of me, then I'm pretty happy with that. It's kind of messed up in a way, but it's a game. So you also have to remind yourself of that. It's just a game. And what's better than what's better than being able to wind someone up when it's in a game? Perfect. No stakes. No stakes. Doesn't really matter. It's just a game. Right. So moving on to tip 3, number 3. I spoke a lot about that one, and it was very off topic. But number 3 would be use Smoke of Deceit, but especially when behind, because Smoke of Deceit is one of these items which is very underutilized, very misunderstood, and can be game changing. Really can be very good for team morale, especially in your solo games. Even in party games, it's good. Just use it. Get some smokes, get going. Like, if you've got a blink on your team, like a blink hero, like Axe, Legion, Sand Shaker. There's loads of blink heroes, guys. If you have a blink hero on your team, especially, think about smoking up, and you don't have to worry about smoking up as 5, because smoking up as 3 is probably the most effective way of doing it. It spreads the risk of the smoke. It keeps it useful. It's not a big committal. It's just generally used for smoking up as 3. Smoking up as 5 is fun, but it's a big commitment, and if you mess up, then it's pretty bad. So I would recommend smoking up as 3 and just going like that. So yeah. Number 4 is give up big items for smaller ones. So we'll start with the laning stage, for example. But let's say you're getting dominated in lane. You've used up all your regen, and you've only got a stick and some iron branches left. Maybe that, or maybe you don't even have the iron branches anymore. Maybe you just have a stick. Really, you should never really be in that position. You should either have regen or have your bigger items. If you don't have your bigger items, that means you're getting dominated in your lane. And the way to deal with that, or a better way to deal with that than just sitting there and accepting your fate, is by buying regen and buying small bonus items. When I say bonus items, I'm talking like bracer, ring protection, headdress. these kind of tiny boost items that kind of like boost your lane in a way, you know, useful items like that. Blightstone is a good one as well. Blightstone is very useful. More on the aggressive side though, Blightstone, as it provides no defensiveness at all. If anything, it's better to get if you haven't dominated your lane quite yet, but you're not getting dominated too hard, and you just want to kind of seal the deal. Blightstone's pretty good. Not so good on a hero like Lich, but it's useful on quite a lot of carries. But also, so I said buy regen, but you could look at Stick, for example. If you're getting dominated in the lane, you don't really care about mana boots at this point. There's no real reason to rush mana boots at this point, because it's not really going to do much for you or your lane. What's going to be better is a wand. So just upgrade to that wand early on. Don't follow the build blindly, because I know it's tempting. It's very tempting to just blindly follow the build and see what order that is Tortellini has chosen for you, or Dota Plus, you know. But actually, using your head and just thinking about it is better than a guide. It's going to be better than Dota Plus as well, because Dota Plus is built on averages and kind of how the game's going generally. It's still not specific enough, you know. The build guides are never specific enough. So those smaller items are going to help you win your lane, even if it's looking lost. Because you know what's really annoying? If you're playing against that carry and he suddenly keeps salving himself out of nowhere, and you're like, how many times is he going to do this? Instantly salving himself and running back to his tower. You just dumped a load of spells into him and he survives again and again, and you never get the kill. Yeah, that's annoying. And that's a huge part of this game, is if you can annoy your team, if you can annoy the enemy, if you can make the game harder for them, then you're winning, you know. If you can buy a Yule Scepter against Axe, Spirit Breaker, or Ursa, that's going to be really annoying for them. You know, there are some obvious counter items to some heroes if you don't have already any good counter heroes themselves. That's why I would like to believe that the original trailer for Dota 2, when he said, what does a hero truly need? I had a good think about this. And I thought, well, number one is a good team behind you. But I guess if that's not a thing, then what does a hero truly need is a counter to whatever's going on in the game. But, you know, it's easier said than done, because there's so many small little mechanics here and there, which is going to make it tricky. Yeah. And another thing I would probably just put in here is that if you're playing as support and the enemy has bought a nullifier, Shadowblade cannot be purged. So just going to put that one out there. I'll let you cook on that one. I'll let you cook. And then number 5, the big one, is never give up, never surrender. Because some games will look completely lost. Then the enemy is really overconfident, dives your base, you kill them all, and they've just taken megas. But then you push down mid, take their racks, start beating on their base, then they will buy back again, and you kill them all. And then you just win the game. So what was looking like a completely lost game is then completely won, because you just didn't give up. You know. But that one's easier said than done, and a lot harder to put in practice, because sometimes there's external factors, sometimes you're not a team, sometimes it's 3v5, sometimes 2 people are griefing, sometimes everyone's griefing, you know, including you. Maybe everyone's just having a bad day, you know. That's also a thing. That's also a thing about this game. It's not a rule of thumb here, but something to remind yourself constantly of, is that this game is a team game. So it doesn't matter if you're in solo matchmaking, party, 5-stack. It's a team game. So you only have a certain amount of authority. Yeah, I don't know. You only have a certain amount of authority in the game. I don't think that's the word I was searching for, but it will do. You get the idea, right? There's only so much you can do until you need a team in a team game. 1v9 is probably only a thing That's a meme, by the way. 1v9 is a meme. 1v5, though, right? 1v5. Maybe if you are a really sweaty Arc Warden Meepo player, it's possible. But I think if not, it's probably impossible. Probably impossible to win consistently. You do need to realize it's a team game. Morale is a very important thing, very clear part of the game. Not always done via voice communication or text communication. Sometimes it's just the act of getting things done, which is the morale boost that everyone's looking for. So yeah, that's it. That's the guy. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you again soon. Bye.